Welcome, my friends, to our Divine Destiny study today and come follow me. It's a new week. It's a new set of chapters. And my friends, we're not very far into the Book of Mormon, and yet we see drastic changes. We are going to be looking at chapters 6 through 10 of 2nd Nephi this week. And as we do, my friends, we find some fascinating things. I guess the one thing is that change is constant. We're with the Nephites now, and remember, they have separated from their brethren, the Lamanites. So we have Nephi and Sam and Zoram and his sisters and Jacob and Joseph and that group of people. And then, of course, you have Laman and Lemuel and those that chose to stay with them. They are divided. They're preparing for war against one another. But what's the most important, my friends, in the midst of all change? I want you and I to remember, and the thought pops into my mind, I've shared this with you, but it's something that I reflect upon often. Elder David A. Bednar, when he had a chance to sit with Robert D. Hills towards the end of his life, and they were reviewing what a magnificent, I say they, it was mostly Elder Bednar, was thinking about and reviewing what a magnificent life that Elder Robert D. Hills had had. And he said to him, he said, how do you do when you've been such a productive, incredible person with your time and you've done so many things? What do you do now that you find yourself not being able to do all of those things? And Elder Hills said, David, when you can't do what you've always done, you do what matters most. My friends, we are going to find out this week in our study what matters most. Major changes have happened. Remember, Nephi ordained his little brothers, Jacob and Joseph, into teachers and priests amongst the people. And this is amazing what we begin to see, because these next few chapters, Jacob is going to be the one teaching, not Nephi, but he will talk to them about Nephi. But he focuses on what matters most. My friends, as you and I get ready to study this week, before we even dive into these chapters, I want you and I to take a mental note, maybe a mental assessment. What is it that matters most? I'm not talking about the primary answers, the ones that are the read and pray and the Savior and the atonement. I'm not talking about those, although those we will get to this week. What I want you and I to ask ourselves, you don't have to tell me, I don't have to tell you, you don't have to tell anybody, but you do have to live with you. I do have to live with me. I can never get away from me, and you can never get away from you. So there's value, my friends, in pausing right here and saying, there's been changes in your life. I don't know where you find yourself, but this is one thing I do know. You are in the middle of change. I had a good friend one time that said, I know that you're in the middle of a struggle. You just got out of the struggle, or you're headed for a struggle, because that's what life is about. So the sooner that you and I understand that change and struggle and opportunity are the constant in our lives, the more we are able to, no matter what else is going on, stop, reflect, and assess on this very question. What matters most to me? This week, my friends, that's what we are going to study with Jacob, with Nephi's little brother Jacob. What matters most? But before we step into tomorrow, please, I invite me. I'm going to do this today. I invite you to do this today. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? I'm not going to ask you to turn that in. I'm not asking you to share that with your spouse or your children. You can if you want. It will be marvelous discussion for a come follow me conversation with your family. But first, my friends, I want you and I to do it privately. I want you and I to ask ourselves, as Elder Robert D. Hills said to Elder David A. Bednar, David, when you can't do what you've always done, you do what matters most. My friends, what if when you can do what you've always done, you still do what matters most? So I pose that question to you today and to me today, to reflect and to contemplate and assess what matters most to me. My friends, I hope in that assessment that things will creep into your mind, your heart, and your soul about your divine destiny, your divine nature, and your divine seeds of greatness that are upon you and inside of you. Gordon B. Hinckley used to say all the time, there's something of divinity within you. My friends, in your and my assessment today of what matters most, I hope we will assess our divine nature, because, my friends, that is what we're going to talk about this week in our study with Jacob. So, my friends, what matters most to you and to me this day? Have a wonderful day.